everybody, it's Matt, Wrestling with Whiskey, back here. Different format than anybody's candy ass has seen so far, so that's cool. We got a little four-way thing going here because I don't know how to use computers, and I thought you could have 4 people on Instagram Live. But I just got fired, so you guys can forgive me being a little bit of a dumbass. No, it's all good. We're chilling here. We are sitting here, four-way chat. We got Greg Hamilton. You've seen him on the show before, doing our March Madness, sipping on things and everything like that. Joining us as well is the king himself, Baron Corbin, Football Tom, whatever you want to call him.
Also, for some reason, Corns in the little left corner.
Corns, yeah. For today's purposes, he's just Corns, you know. Because it's bourbon, which is primarily a corn whiskey, but that's okay. But our guest of the hour, Mr. Jon Hargrove, Mr. Dan Callaway from Bardstown Bourbon Company, joining us to sip on some awesome stuff. How are you guys?
Yeah. Hey, doing great. Thanks for having us, guys. So looking forward to this.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, no. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thanks for sending some of this along. This will be fun. Obviously, I think a lot of us here have been big fans of the Bardstown Bourbon stuff so far, and like it just keeps picking up and up and up and up, and you guys are on a hell of a ride so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we started distilling in 2016, so we're just coming up about 3.5, hitting our 4th year of aging. In that time, we've doubled capacity twice. We're going to hit 7 million proof gallons right about there this year. Incredible operation.
That is pretty unreal.
And that time frame is insane.
Yeah, no kidding.
Jon Hargrove, you know, is our COO. He oversees the whole operation. That's why I wanted to have him on today.
Yeah, so what was originally we thought was going to be a 10-year plan quickly turned to less than 2 years. We quadrupled in size on our capacity.
Wow.
So it's been an exciting ride. And
yeah, good problem to have.
Absolutely.
I suppose. Yeah, no kidding. I remember that when I was down there a couple of years ago or whatever. I mean, it was already humming then, let alone, you know, the kind of pace you guys have picked up so far.
Yeah, we can't wait to have you back. You'll be surprised. I was there when you came a couple years ago.
I haven't been.
Yeah, here, look, I'll give you a little spin around real quick. You ready? So we're in the corner of the still. You know, we're running. And then you can see our restaurant here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, baby.
A little walk so you can see what we do here. Restaurant, full service, tours over there, sitting out, beautiful Bardstown, a few of our rick houses, our newest private space over there, Pete's Place for our barrel picks, our hangouts. Just a beautiful location. Yeah, you got to come check it out.
Corbin and Greg, you guys are both foodies. I was lucky enough to eat there when I was at that, and like, it's not just some. I remember it ain't just some like concession stand at the outside the ballpark. I mean, that is like some fine ass dining over there. Like it's some quality. Like there is nothing done like half-assed there. Like the dining experience, the bar experience, the distillery, obviously, the tours, picks, everything. Like it is unreal.
And that's the cool.
Real quick. Is it true, like, it's more of a chef-driven restaurant, right? Like, it's not just, I mean, you have a very, very qualified chef there, a very well-experienced chef that's doing some pretty special things on the menu, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Absolutely. That's the coolest thing about being in this building, sitting in the restaurant with the distillery right here, incredible bar team, cocktail specialists. We all work on these blends together. We all work on the products together. So when we hit this fusion blend, it has a culinary perspective from our chefs, has a cocktail perspective from our beverage team, and then we've got John, Steve Nally, former master distiller, Maker's Mark, incredible distilling team, knocking out their perspective too.
So what's the specialty food-wise? What is it? You know, is it a steakhouse? Is it a little bit of everything?
You know, it's Southern driven, you know, so fried chicken's probably one of our biggest sellers, but we also do an amazing porterhouse, you know, come in, fries are incredible. You can sit down for lunch real quick. You can have a first growth Bordeaux wine with some Pappy, over 400 vintage whiskeys. Take your time with dinner. Ooh, yeah. Kind of either way you want to play it.
Wow.
How come I'm not drinking any Pappy? I'm drinking this stuff.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Give us a few years. We've only been on the market for 4 right now, so we got a couple more years before we get on that age happy.
Well, before we start sipping through some, you guys are here, Dan and John. Just give it like us for anybody who's watching, who's just joined in or whatever, just kind of came onto this page and everything. Give us the brief kind of rundown of your experience in this industry, how you got to Bardstown Bourbon Company, and just kind of let people know where you came from.
Yeah, I'll start off. So my experience in the spirits industry started in Sazerac at Barton 1792 Distillery. So I headed over their quality, and then when I left for Bardstown Bourbon, I was their master distiller for a little bit at Barton 1792 and the director of distillation operations there. And then 3 years ago, it's already been 3, time flies, right? I came on board here as the director of distillation operations to kind of help facilitate and do a talent acquisition as far as growing the distilling team here. So it's been 3 years now, and loving every bit of it. Like I said, we started out at 1.5 million proof gallons in 2016 with 5 or 6 customers, and now we're over 7 million proof gallons this past year with 29 customers in our collaborative distilling program, and we're going to hit up to 11 markets this year on the finished goods side with 6+ finished goods already out there. So it's been a wild ride, and it's been amazing.
Hell yeah! What about you, Dan?
How much play in creativity are you getting to, putting into these bottles from the label? And I mean, the designs on them are incredible. When you like the Prisoner one, when you look through the bottle and you see that, they're eye-catching bottles.
Right. So we started everything from scratch, right? It's a proprietary bottle, glass design, and we drew inspiration from our collaborative partners too. So if you see through the collaborative partners on our Prisoner, you'll see their logo on the Chateau de l'Abad. You'll see their logo on the back. And then our logos shine through as far as the corn stock on the Discovery. We sit on 100 acres here that we do grow corn and winter wheat that we harvest and put into our whiskey and bourbon products. And then you'll see on the Fusion kind of a molecular design on the back, and that kind of represents the fusion, the blending of the new make that we've had here produced in 2016 and 17 that we've blended with older maturate out there on the open market. So that's what that molecular fusion represents. So we pull a lot of inspiration from everywhere. At the end of the day, it came down to the talent that we formed here. And like I said, we get every single department here is involved in the development of these products.
That's awesome. Really cool. Yeah, Dan, what about you? What's your background? What brought you here?
Yeah, so I kind of, while John heads up the distillery, the operations, I oversee the tours, the restaurant, kind of the front-facing side of things. Came up through wine and spirits. Actually, I have a classical music background, so I was playing in the orchestra in New Orleans, and met a girl, moved to Kentucky, and then got it deep into kind of wine. Was running a restaurant in Louisville, and then came down to initially open the bar program here as the place expanded to the full service restaurant, opened that, then open the tours, and just keep growing with the business.
What did you play in the orchestra?
Yes.
The French horn. It's a curly trumpet.
Oh yeah, I know the French horn. I was in band for a good couple of years. I was a tromboner.
All right. Did that ever make it on stage?
What's that?
I was kicked out of band.
What'd you do?
Well, I played the cello, but the bow. Apparently, if you slap a kid over the head with it, it's not a good thing in band. So,
but it is effective.
I was asked to pick my cello up and leave.
I would have pegged you as a cymbals guy, Corbs. I didn't, walk around with cymbals crashing in kids' ears. But okay, I'll take that whipping kids with the bow. I can see that.
Yeah, right.
That's why you get your scepter now. That's why you get the scepter.
Yeah.
Good.
Sure.
Good. Well, cool. Well, you guys want to try this first one?
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Yeah, you lead us through like one of your tastings, wherever you want to do that.
Yeah. So we kick it off with the Fusion series. Mm-hmm. So the Fusion is a fusion between our product distilled here and older source whiskey. So as you know, we started distilling in 2016. So we're not ready to purely release a 6-year-old product right now.
Right.
We're going to wait. But what we can do is introduce our maturate into the market. It's a blend of a high rye bourbon and a wheated bourbon that's ours. And with the full transparency, we put it right on the label, right? So you can see exactly what's in your bourbon on the label.
And Dan, I got to tell you, I love that about these bottles that you make, because it really helps people at home. It walks them through what exactly is in this bottle in a way that another label wouldn't do. And I remember the first bottles I got of these, I found that very interesting to know exactly what age of each bourbon was in there and what the blend percentages were. I love that you guys do that, man. It helps educate us as the bourbon drinkers at home, man. Really cool stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we stand behind: innovation, collaboration, and transparency. So we want to be transparent with everything we put out. So we've got 42% of a high rye that's ours, 18% of a classic wheated, about 20% wheat mash bill, and then the remaining, so that makes up 60% ours. The remaining 40% is sourced. Cool. And the coolest thing is the story of how we got here. John would actually put together these brackets, think like an NCAA Final Four bracket, with all these different blends, because we have over 40 different mash bills we produce here. All source bourbon. We could put together these blends that different people have created, blind them. No one knows what they're tasting. John would throw in finished products into the mix.
And mind you, we don't have an R&D department per se, where a corporate spirits company would have. We came an unconventional approach, thinking outside the box. The people working the bar, the kitchen, they have different experiences with bourbon and whiskeys, right? No better, no worse than somebody that makes it for a living. So we wanted to capture all that feedback. So we've had everybody represented in these blind tastings, and where I'd even throw in finished products, let's like say a Kentucky Owl, and throw it in there where they wouldn't even know there was a finished product they were judging up against, to see what the true raw scores of these would be on the organoleptic side, sensory side, for these blind tastings.
That's really
that's awesome.
And just out of the gate, our iteration, this fusion, just was number 11 whiskey advocate out of
That's right.
all whiskey, not just bourbon, number 11. So to come out of the gate with that award is pretty incredible. We're proud of this one.
Oh.
Yeah. And so this will continue to grow as our product gets older. You'll see that age through the fusion until we land at our core Bardstown bourbon, which will be around that 6-year point of the year.
And now, like, as this series goes up in batch 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, or however much, will the ratios change to add maybe a little bit more of the wheat, or do you plan on staying the same as long as you can?
That's a good question. So we debated that. What would be the best way to show our liquid? And we think we would like to keep the same ratio of how our liquids and how it impacts that blend overall. So we would stay true to that original blend, and you could see the impact and the quality increasing with each release going forward under the Fusion brand. So, but who's not to say we change that on Fusion? But it's a very methodical approach we take when we implement something here.
Okay.
I was going to say that's going to be trouble for me, because then I'm going to have to keep a little bit of each one so that I can go.
Yeah,
right.
We're going 1 through 12 tonight, boys.
The whole thing, the whole shaboodle.
Yeah, that's how we do it. We hold a little back of each one too,
Got to. Hell yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah, and this is proofed at 98.9, which is a real sweet spot for it.
Yeah, that's a good spot. I'm a big believer in, like, I'm that right around that 100 proof. I think for almost any whiskey, I think is like solid.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's not going to punch you in the face, but it's not going to leave you wanting, for more anything. I think it's a nice middle ground kind of for anything.
You say that about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right.
There's actually an interesting story how we proof this. So we blinded the proofing also, and we got between 98 and 99, where everybody thought that was the best. And so we had to make a decision. I'm from right north of Kansas City, Missouri. So my favorite rock station was 98.9 The Rock growing up.
Johnny Dare, bro.
Johnny Dare. So I proofed it at 98.9 after 98.9 The Rock out of Kansas City, Missouri.
I'm from Kansas City, so I'll have to tell you I'm good friends with Johnny, so I'll have to let him know that.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Go.
I'll have to get him a bottle.
Yeah. Easter eggs all over the place.
Yeah, I'm from Lenexa.
Everything's on the table.
I'm drinking.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you really get the balance between the bright young, just hitting 3 years on this Fusion number 2, and then that Source 12 years. So you get a balance of both. It's really cool, balanced finish. It's great.
Wow. You get that brightness right up front, but then it just like it rolls down the palate and becomes almost like a creamy, caramelly tip to the back of the palate. But that brightness up front, yeah, and I like the way it sort of just rolls back and smooths out with some of those other notes.
Exactly. We don't want to release a 3-year product right now. We don't think that's not who we want to be. We want to release our best effort, and that's going to take a little more time. These Fusion products are a great way to see how it's progressing.
At the same time,
I don't think you need to be fast, because I don't think the bourbon, I mean, right now it's the bourbon craze is insane, but I don't think it's going anywhere.
No,
I think it's the staple of America right now, that what they want, and I think it's like you said, there's just no rush to push out a product that's not ready.
Right, you said it. I mean, patience is key in this game, right? And also, blending is becoming more and more popular within this industry, kind of emulating what Scotch had done. Where you blends of 20, 25 different whiskeys. Bourbon's just scratching the surface on that.
Yeah.
And we think we have something with some of these early releases and the process that we complete to produce these finished products. So we're really excited about what we put out and what we're about to come out on the blending side of bourbon.
Yeah, I think that's a cool whole new category, like not new category, but like everything goes through cycles. And there was a time, I think, when blend, was a bad word, right? Yeah, everyone goes, right. It's impure, it's all this, but then people kind of come back around with the explosion, not just bourbon. I think American whiskey in every category is really on an upward swing. And so, and people are really open to playing with things and experimenting with things, blending things, finishing things. And that's the kind of innovation that's going to lead American whiskey, I mean, whiskey in general, but especially here, I think, into the future.
Yeah, I mean, blended whiskey, as far as American whiskey, got, I wouldn't say a bad rap, but a lower shelf categorization. Sure. They would blend GNS with actual bourbon and whiskey to supplement their volumes, right? And that would be behind the bar and your drink gun type of blended whiskey. So right. We're in the sense where we're actually blending 12-year-old, 8-year-old, 6-year-old, 15-year-old, balancing those notes between new and old bourbons. So I think we're still in the Wild West when it comes to bourbon or blending American bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
What I do think we've found, though, is we don't have a master blender, and we believe in that path. Having this culinary input, beverage input with the distilling input, we're going to continue with that. I think we're making.
Yeah, you guys aren't putting yourself in a box. No. It's just.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
In our world, if you stay the same, you kind of die, and if you guys are continuing to grow with the different blends and different things like that, I think that's going to be one of the keys to longevity is creating these new tastes with each bottle you guys are coming out with. And I think it's incredible. Like this one, this one's awesome. Like, I've tried the Prisoner already. Taste this one, and the color, you're going, okay, it's a nice, real light color, and you get that crisp up front, but then it still takes you for a long ride because it still has that blend of age.
Product in there, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, Matt, you brought up a really good point before about how, we're scratching the surface, and blend used to be a bad word in the bourbon industry. But what I think is so cool, we go back to the labeling. By putting that stuff on the label, it shows you're doing it with a purpose. You're not just, hey, let's just throw a bunch in and see what happens. It's no. this is the breakdown of the blend that we found to be the best for this product. So it's done with a purpose, not just haphazardly. And this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's an intentional blend. It's one we believe in, so it's great.
Hell yeah. Now, speaking of some older stuff, you want to move on to our friend Discovery?
So you guys have Discovery number 2 in front of you, right? I know you
Yes.
said maybe like 1, 2. So this Discovery is purely exactly what we're talking about. We call it the art of blending. This is all sourced bourbon. This is us trying to make the best blended bourbon we possibly can. There's not restrictions on it for age. We just go through. We have all kinds of options for sourced whiskey, different flavor profiles. We analyze each, use the same process as Fusion, blind taste them. You submit blends, we blind it, and we get you the winner. Discovery 2 has a slightly older flavor profile than Discovery 1. It's a blend of 10, 12, and then actually a pretty good amount of 14 on there. It is cask strength, so you're right around 120 proof. We do that so you can taste it what it is, and then you can control your own proof. I do like it with a couple drops of water to bring it down a little bit, but just a beautiful whiskey.
Yeah, I remember. So I haven't totally cracked this yet. I had Discovery 1. I just finished, and I was so sad. It was one of seriously, right? It was one of the best bottles I've had in recent memory. That's why it went so fast. And again, I love the transparency. Come back to it. I mean, I remember talking to Steve. Now I sat down with him when he was in Chicago, and he's a huge proponent of that. So like the fact that it's from top down, that everybody is like, look, we're an open book. Yeah, which is kind of a cool thing. God, when you're looking at a blend of stuff and the youngest thing you see is 10 years, you're in for a good ride. I mean,
I was thinking the same thing.
That's the baseline for the maturity of the stuff. That's a nice place to start.
Well, it's funny.
And important, man, and the color on this thing, my God.
It's great. It's rich, yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Steve too. Someone that grew up next to Maker's Mark, worked there for 36 years, Bourbon Hall of Famer, their master distiller. As you know, Maker's Mark, you're making one product, right? You're making Maker's Mark. He comes in, all kinds of innovation, is just like say up for blending, up for creating new products, stretching the boundaries, just like everyone else in the building. So it's pretty cool to see him in here being a part of these blends.
Yeah, that's got to be a little bit like almost like a kid in the candy store. Like finally, like you said, like after years of being like, all right, locked into kind of the status quo, the recipe, the hit, especially at a place like Maker's, which is a very concentrated.
We liberated.
So he's been liberated. So.
Yeah, dude. He just gets to go hog wild, and you guys are doing all these stuff. That's got to be cool.
Yeah, and
I go back on these bottles. I have to just touch again, man. Like the detail of the bottle. I'm a details person. I love small, and I mean just the weight of the cap alone. I absolutely love the weight of the cap with the cork.
Yeah.
I open it, and I know I'm opening a quality whiskey or a quality bourbon. It's just one of those things that, and you have the etching on the back, and it's just top to bottom. It is quality. And then I think, too, you guys, with having the different years and the breakdown on the back, if I'm in a store, too, and I've never heard of this company, and I'm looking and going, I want to try a new whiskey, you can pick this bottle up and go, oh, man, I think I'll really be into this, versus, just another random bottle on the shelf is not going to give you that transparency. You're going to be guessing at what you're buying, especially if you're spending decent money on a bottle, because you can find phenomenal bottles in this price point, but you can find some bad ones too. Mm-hmm. And so this, I think, is awesome because you can pick it up on a shelf and have an idea of what you're getting.
It's true.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, well said.
This is punching you in the nose pretty good. I love this.
Yeah, Corbin, for real.
Yeah.
Really? I don't know. Maybe I've been drinking and nosing too much whiskey lately, but like to me, for 120, it's not
Yeah.
It's not kicking you out of your seat or whatever. Like, I mean, you can you can feel the proof. You 100% can, but like, it's oak and deep vanilla.
I'm pulling some cinnamon, and I love it when I get some cinnamon out of my taste.
That cinnamon is coming off the 10-year. The 10-year component is pretty cinnamon strong. Real spice on that one. So it's balancing that with the notes of the 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one I always look for stronger proofs if I'm going to have a cigar with my, whiskey at night, because I want to still be able to taste it. So sometimes when I have a cigar, like if it's something like Blanton's, you lose any taste and it just doesn't have it. And so for me, like this is one I would grab and have a cigar because I'm still going to taste the whole flavor profile of this.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. So. And then, what's fun too is to take it down a little bit with some water. Joe, try different proofs. It opens up different ways.
Too.
Great with the steak too, goes really well with this nice fillet.
Beautiful for actually the porterhouse for two, and you're the only one eating.
Yeah.
There you go, Corbin. That sounds like you.
You can come to my house for dinner anytime.
Yeah.
What were you doing?
I bought a 4.5 pound porterhouse the other day.
Yeah, that's I love it.
I saw you doing so. You were some 20-something dry aged.
Oh, last night I did 5 45-day dry aged ribeyes.
Wow.
How was that?
Incredible. And I did it my lazy way, and they were still incredible. I cooked them in the oven at 275 till they internally hit about 120, and then I seared them in Snake River Farms beef tallow. It's like a beef fat almost, and whoa, they were crispy and just butter inside.
Wow.
I wish I'd opened this last night with that.
Right.
No kidding.
I had a bottle of wine, so it worked out.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
My wife would drink this, and she doesn't like a lot of the high proofs, but I can tell you because this doesn't have the burn that some of the high proofs have.
Yeah.
It's still just smooth all the way through.
It's viscous. It's got weight. It's rich, Instead of being thin and hot, it's rich and
that's
big.
one of the things we look for with the barrels that we're selecting when we're blending. We want to die down that heat and really balance out the different qualities of the different extractables each barrel, each mash bill has to highlight that in the blend. If you get something that's too hot, it takes away from all those other elements that we're looking for, especially on the nose and especially on the upfront taste. It'll pretty much wipe out your sensory abilities at that point. You won't be able to enjoy it. So we really look for those barrels when we're selecting them for our blends that really have that heat that's dissipated, and those extractables that are really out there with a punch. So
100%.
Well, I took your advice. I did proof it down with a couple of drops here, and you're right. It opens up. I'm getting more of that cinnamon now, and just a lot of oak and cinnamon. But it opens it up in a way that I didn't get at first. Great call on that, man. It's phenomenal.
I usually start and then proof it down and just,
And that's what,
play with it.
I did it eat first and then just a couple little drops. I like that a lot.
No wrong way to drink this, right? Add a couple drops of water, add an ice cube to slowly proof it down, straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's whatever the drinker wants is what we go for.
And actually, so I had a question about this too, and something I thought about. And so with the blend breakdown in this, when you go between batch 1, 2, and if there's a 3 and 4, so on, I imagine are those stocks individually continuing to age and then blending them again each time? Or you're not aging the blend, right?
So actually, we're doing both.
Oh, okay.
So what we've done is we've held back when we want to bottle this. We put these back into a barrel at this blend.
I was going to say, yeah.
On both Fusion and Discovery. So that's probably the first time we've publicly said that, but that's part of our experimentation, right? And yes, we buy stocks. So we'll buy 50, 100, 300, 400 barrels of aged product. So while we use a portion of that every year we buy more. So we might buy a 10-year of that same recipe that we buy a 7-year at the same year. So we want to make sure the sky's the limit, right? To where we have free reign what's out there on the market, we've collected over the years to be able to blend the best thing for what we're looking for at that moment.
Yeah. Okay. That's very cool.
And Discovery 3 is coming this summer.
Okay.
The blend and finish,
it's done.
It's completely different.
Really?
It's got a new twist on it. So
we got a hold of some new stocks,
Okay.
some limited stocks. So we're very excited for Discovery number 3 to come out.
Nice. I'll have to be on the lookout for that. 100%. Greg, you done having your aneurysm over there?
Yeah, my battery was about to die, man. I had to run and grab my charger.
Okay, fair enough. You're with us. You're alive.
But I made it back in time, so we're good.
You did. I'm proud of you. You
I
wanna?
still don't want to put this down. This one.
I know.
you don't have to. Your house.
Yeah. Put them to the side. You can go back. You can go back through them and just double check your notes later.
I'm gonna make my wife go through them once the baby's down. So
There you go.
and I probably should say it online. I was gonna say my 1-year-old actually really likes bourbon.
Yeah.
It's good for the toothache.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know when you have their teeth.
Missouri and Kentucky, a bad combination. That's me.
Yeah.
I'm from Kansas, so
Hell yeah.
Well, cool. Well, we hit the blends, and now the third one you've got is the Prisoner, which is in the finish category. Coolest thing we do with finishing is we age a longer time, and we feel like we're onto this. We actually just won Best in Class San Francisco Spirits for a finished bourbon. Our first wine release, our Pfeiffer Pavitt, won Best in Class. So we're going to continue on this path. This is the Prisoner. A lot of people know the Prisoner Wine Company. Awesome blend. It's a Zinfandel forward blend. What we did is we took 9-year Tennessee bourbon and put it in those barrels for 18 months. So an incredibly long time to be finishing. And the wrinkle here is how we went about the blend. So like I said, Prisoner is a blend of 5 different grapes, Zinfandel led. We took 40 barrels. We kept the ratio of the Prisoner blend the same in the barrels we brought over. So hypothetically, if Prisoner was 50% Zinfandel, then we took 20 Zinfandel barrels, you know, a little bit of Cab Sav, little bit of Cab Franc, maintain that ratio, aged them all in the individual wine barrels, and then put them all back together. So the Prisoner bourbon is the same blend of wine grapes, same ratio as the Prisoner wine.
Oh, that's really cool too. Another twist on.
Yeah.
I love the color.
Go ahead.
I love the color of
Oh
this.
yeah, the color on this is unreal. Like, I mean, it all you. I remember when I first poured this out, just the change, the slight difference from a regular like amber bourbon. You almost would have thought somebody just poured a little bit of wine into a bourbon.
So that's actually by design, believe it or not. When we decided to, in each of our finishes, how we receive these barrels, very selective process, picking our partners, very high quality, but how they prep the barrels. Not a lot of winemakers in Kentucky or nearby in the grain belt, right? So we have them the day they harvest these barrels. We have them keep 2 to 3 gallons dregs in the barrels for us. We have them fill it with inert gas, cap it, seal it, immediately put it in a refrigerator truck, overnight it to Kentucky. Right when this truck live unload, we have the barrels ready to transfer the liquid. It goes right in there, it goes straight to a warehouse. So we don't want any chance for spoilage, bacteria to enter it. So we want to take every advantage of what that wine has to offer, the Zinfandel, the Cab Savs, the Petite Syrahs, the Syrahs. So we don't want to degrade that in any aspect. So if anybody's out there getting into the finishing game, I just told you the equation for a successful finishing project. So do that and finish it for 15 months plus, and you'll be getting some awards.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you got to do.
It's that easy.
Anyway,
And, you know, I'm a big, originally when I was told about this one, I'm a big wine guy. I love, my daughter is named after a bottle of wine. but I am not a Cali wine fan. I know I'm Italian and Spanish. And I'll go south. I do a lot of South America, like Malbecs and stuff that I absolutely love. But Prisoner is actually one of the Cali wines that I do enjoy because it has a strong, long profile. And I think Cali wines, when you taste them, they fall off. It's just my opinion. But when you take this, and I've already tried this one, obviously, but you can taste it in this. And a lot of people are doing like some kind of wine, a cab bourbon mix, and I can't ever really pull the wine from it. Or the only time I can is when they do it like a port or a sherry. Mm-hmm. But this, I mean, from start to finish, this one is one of my favorite that I've ever tried.
Awesome.
It's just incredible.
Let me ask you guys this, because the Copper and Kings, which we had before, was unbelievable. And now you guys are partnering with Prisoner. What's that process as far as, hey, this is who we want to partner with to age these bourbons? What's the process for you guys as far as deciding what type of aging you want to do, what type of barrel, what type of spirit, and then from there, who to go with? Like, what made you decide to go to Copper and Kings or go to Prisoner? They're incredibly successful. I just want to know how you pick those out, how you decide.
Yeah, so we look for very quality-driven brands out there. Somebody we actually get a personal relationship with, and it's the story of two artists working together, right? We got Steve Nally, we got our head distiller, Nick Smith. Not only them two, but a couple other people from the team here that work with their technical team, right? They're master blenders, they're winemakers. We had one of the greatest white winemakers out here recently talking about some of our potential collaborations with them. So that quality aspect and that really that relationship that, hey, we're just not here to source a barrel. We're here to tell a story and put a passion behind this project. Because not only does a story tell, a story drives a really good product too. So you don't. If you look for that quality relationship, the story's going to write itself, and you're going to have a phenomenal product be the result of that relationship. So we take pride in who we select, and it's just not us selecting; it's them selecting us as a partner too. So it's a mutual relationship. It's just not, hey, Bardstown Bourbon wants you to be a partner. We ask them if they would be interested in being our partner, right? Because there's a mutual respect there. We respect that they're one of the greatest beer makers out there, wine makers out there, or another distillery that we could potentially partner with in the future on a collaboration. So as you can see, I'm very passionate about it, just talking about it. I would say passion is what drives the success of these relationships.
So finding other places, other spirit companies, or be it wine, like you said, beer, but somebody that you feel genuinely has the same passion, but also has a nice story behind it. Right. Hey man, our story collaborating with your story, we could do something special here, that kind of thing.
Or could supplement us. Where we are weak, they are strong, sort of thing too.
Okay,
and we can make a product that's that checks both those boxes essentially. So and we think outside the box. So if you don't think we'd ever look at you to being a partner, if there's something unique out there, we're going to think about it. So.
Well, I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
While we're on the, have you ever heard of Malort?
Yes. Unfortunately.
Oh, that's that Chicago thing, right?
So yeah, that's something I always think of you guys because you guys do such good finishings. Malort is, I'm not sure if you guys know, Corbin, I've told Greg about it. It's this notoriously horrible liqueur that somehow caught on fire as like a cult thing here in Chicago. It's like you have a shot of it. It's terrible, but it survived because it's like this cult hit. And so I want Malort to take their stuff and age it in a barrel, and then I want that barrel to be used for a finishing for a bourbon. I want Malort finished bourbon.
We can do a small barrel for you.
A very small barrel.
Just, one barrel. It'll sell out immediately in Chicago. I guarantee it. You do that, and you put a Chicago flag on the back. Everybody will buy it up, and they'll buy it for $500 a bottle. But it would be awful and amazing. And so that's my 3 cents.
We'll send out an email tomorrow.
I love it.
We're not joking. So our experimental list is pages and pages. So
I can
that
imagine.
just got added to it. So.
Yeah. Well, at least we'll get a bottle of Malort in here and
see what happens.
I just want to find it to know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Idea.
You do, but you don't.
Way down to Kentucky every now and then.
It's very local at this point. Right, cool. I'm gonna start getting it.
Yeah, and the cool thing is it sits around 100 proof. It's cask strength though. The reason is John said there's those 2 to 3 gallons of wine dregs, around 15%. That interacts with the bourbon going in, brings down the total proof. It's
really? So that is cask strength.
Yeah, it's like you diluted a bourbon with wine instead of water. You brought it down with wine instead of water. It's awesome.
And one thing we haven't touched on, we don't chill filter any of these. So we don't bring it down to 26 degrees and chill filter out any of the fatty acids. These are all unchill filtered products that we offer at Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for the fatty acids and the rich flavors that are stripped out during that process.
So there's one thing actually, is because I noticed, maybe just because I'm a dork. So I know with both this one and then with the Piper Fabbit release, that was the one that just won the award at San Francisco. For those releases, the bourbon you guys selected was particularly Tennessee bourbon for the wine finish. I was just wondering, I'm like, was there something about, do you think the Tennessee worked better with wine overall than like a regular Kentucky bourbon or something like that?
Right. So we have all these inventories, right? So what's unique about the Tennessee is the high corn content, 84%, low rye content, 8%. That balances out with these wines very good in the finishing side. But we did that different with this Armagnac. So you got to really do the legwork up front and the R&D, the sampling, the benchtop trials to see which barrels. We have our partners send us their finished goods. We taste them and we kind of imagine what that best fit would be before we take it to benchtop sample, then benchtop sample to industrial production. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
I gotcha.
There's a lot to do with what that base bourbon is. If you don't have a good foundation for that finish, you're not going to have a finish. And not every barrel is a home run, right? On the Piper Fabbit that just won the best in glass and double and gold, we held 2 barrels back from that blend that we didn't think belonged in that batch, right? So we had 17 barrels. We planned for that many cases on the release into those markets, but when it came to blend those barrels together, we blended, tasted each barrel and decided to pull 2 of them out that really didn't lend the flavors that made it as rich as the final product that we came with the 15 barrel batch that was produced with that first iteration of Piper Fabbit.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome to not be scared to just shelf a couple of things, because I've been to some winery, out to Antinori in Tuscany to go to the winery there, and they'll talk about it if it's not up to their standards, they'll scrap a whole year, and they'll because they're not going to sacrifice their product. There's something to be said, if you guys are willing to do that when you taste and you're just going, hey, that's not what we're here for. I think
that's when you get to your
hard for people to do.
Over revenue, gross revenue at the end of the day. We think we'll make it up with putting out quality products instead of just pushing out cases.
Yeah.
Well, and you'll keep the people that you gain. I think that's something to be said. That the people who are buying your product know they're getting a quality product, and it'll make them stick around for life. Versus they get a couple that are going, man, this is just not up to par. I'm going to find something else.
Right. By the way, we have a very unique 2 barrels sitting in our warehouses at 30 months now that have been finished.
Right? No, yeah. That's also too sometimes. Yeah, that's the advantage there.
Maybe that turns out to be something good. Maybe we reclaim the alcohol and redistill it. We'll see.
Yeah, no kidding. So I think, is there like a section of like one of the warehouses that's just like not reject, but like discarded barrels that you held back from some of these blends where they just let sit and kind of see what happens?
They're sitting where we originally
where you had them. Okay.
there's no such thing as wasted whiskey at a distillery, right? So it's going to go somewhere, whether it's going to go to grain neutral spirits for another distillation, whether it's going to go to a very large batch, so a 20,000, 30,000 case run, blended off at 0.05% into that batch over 5 years. So a little trick of the trade, nothing goes to waste at a distillery.
Wow.
Love it.
But we are, on that note, opening up, expanding our single barrel program. So with that, since we have over 40 mash bills, we're starting to create this program that includes barley forward recipes, all kinds of things that you can come in, line up in this new speakeasy style bar out there, try and pick out single barrels of kind of these interesting, unique mash bills that we may have hanging around.
That's really cool. I mean, you don't have to go into too deep, but did you guys end up, I imagine the answer is yes, but at some point going into releasing just like a straight rye or even malt whiskeys, wheat whiskeys, things like that?
So yeah, so I'll tell you. So we're going to have a straight 95.5 rye whiskey. We produce 100% rye whiskey. We're getting ready to produce our first wheated whiskey. Our head distiller, Nick Smith, is producing and developed our first wheated whiskey. It's going to be a Kentucky Proud product, meaning all ingredients were sourced here locally, down to the wood, the white oak trees, the malted barley, the rye, and the corn, all here in this 3-county area, and even made by people that are from Kentucky, right? So it's Kentucky Proud product, wheated whiskey. We're going to be coming out with a 20% wheated bourbon, 39% wheated bourbon, all 100% produced here at Bardstown Bourbon Company here at the 2022 mark, and then 23 and 24.
That's awesome.
So very excited for it.
A lot of good things to come for sure.
And one thing I didn't say, we also last November got into the American single malt category too.
Okay.
We started experimenting with that. We have roughly 40 barrels for experiments in the American single malt category.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Coming.
Oh, I'm smelling a little tester vial already.
Hey.
The tester vial. Oh man. So you guys have what was taken out of the barrel. These are 100-gallon barrels. Local Black Forest in the region of Armagnac, they come from there, 100 gallons. You guys had the last thing taken out of the barrel. This bottle right here is the first bottle ever cracked of it. It's cask strength, so we're drinking the same thing.
Okay.
So this is a first. This is actually the first bottle ever opened of this Armagnac. We just got them today.
Yeah, oh shit! There you
go.
Whoa!
Breaking news.
You guys have, since the barrels were dumped,
yeah,
the only thing out of the barrel. There's nothing out of, the only remaining products that were taken from the barrel. So pretty cool.
These barrels, 20-some years old. I forget exactly how. They actually had to remove the roof of this Armagnac house to get these barrels out of the cellar to send to us. So that it was a very one of those unique selection processes, and what kind of barrels that we want to come here and work with. So very, very excited about this project.
And you can see their logo right here. This is the latest one, kind of a mythological. That's Labaud, and that's going to be right on the back. I don't know how the color's turning up, but it's a real nice kind of burgundy on the label.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
What is the proof on that?
118.
Okay. I love, man. That's a category I've been kind of jumping into, just jumping outside of whiskey and stuff, but like cognacs and Armagnacs, like those are there are some incredible, I don't know, for me, especially like on noses, there are some incredible scents and stuff that come out of those older Armagnacs and cognacs.
Armagnac's real interesting because they use these older column stills. Cognac, they do pot stills twice. They really clean it up. Armagnac's a little more fiery, a little more rustic. They use old column stills. Usually column still would be cleaner, but they distill it to a low proof, and it's kind of a more rustic model. And then the barrels they use have more tannins on them, so they come off with a little more fire than cognac. It's a pretty cool region.
I bought a bottle of cognac off the shelf because I was like, I just need to add a bottle of cognac to my collection. And I was like, all right, I'll spend $100 on a bottle. Bought it, brought it home, opened it up. It tastes like straight gasoline. I was like, yep, I'll put that on the shelf. And I go, well, anybody who asks for cognac, that's what they get. But apparently it's a good cognac, but it tasted like gasoline to me.
Yeah. Can't all be winners.
It was rocket fuel.
This
is our newest collaboration.
Yeah.
This has got some fire to it, but it's got a lot of florality to it. A little honey on the palate.
Very unique.
Yeah.
You can taste that on the fire on your lips. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's an animal trying to break into my screen right now.
Very sweet on the back end though. Fiery on the lips, very, very sweet. So, but like Dan said, these are 400-liter casks, right? So just think of a normal 53-gallon American white oak barrel, 500 pounds filled. These are over 1,000 pounds. So rolling these, might have to get you guys in here to help us out.
So when will that bottle hit the shelf? I know you said that was the first one ever cracked. So what are we looking at as far as when we can, find them on the shelves at the stores?
Well, this is, unfortunately, we just had 4 of these barrels. So it's a very limited product. It's going to just be local to Kentucky and then online. You can get it online, but it should be releasing right now.
Hey, listen, I live in Cincinnati, baby. I'll cross the river to go to Party Sorts tomorrow, brother.
I spent some time in the Party Source. I went to University of Cincinnati, so I hopped over the river a few times.
I live right down in OTR over the Rhine. It's a lot different now than it used to be.
Yeah, it was.
So a lot of these people ask, why do you only do 4 barrels, 5 barrels? It's part of our experimental program, right? But as we really nailed down our core competencies, what Bardstown Bourbon really wants to represent, the experimental aspect, yes, but we want to produce on a larger scale stuff that's been proven on a smaller scale. So like you said earlier in this discussion, patience is the key to this brand, to Bardstown Bourbon, and we're going to wait for some of this stuff. Unfortunately, that's not the best answer for some people, but we think the payoff's going to be in the long run, and I think people are going to, in the long run, agree with us. So,
yeah, I mean, whatever they say, I mean, patience, integrity wins out in the long run. The better the product, whatever it takes to get there, and whatever it takes to put your best foot forward, I think it's always worth it.
But in the meantime, we'll still be blending discoveries.
Yeah.
We'll have plenty of product that we're going to be putting out there on the market that's very high quality.
No,
well, and that's what I was going to say too, is, the patience is key, as you mentioned, but you guys are doing things right now that are so interesting and outside the box that you're garnering attention and almost an anticipation for people that are going to be willing to wait and be patient for, the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years because of what you're doing with this stuff is so innovative. It's like, man, I can't wait to get their juice at 4, 5, 6 when they got their own stuff on, because this is just so outside the box, man. So it's great.
And one thing I didn't mention, on every basic tour we give here, our standard tour, we go in the rick house, only place on the trail that does this. We pull out of a barrel that's currently aging, and it's one of our older products. So you can see exactly where, we had a 78% corn recipe that was almost 3 years. You can see exactly where we're at. You sign up for the regular tour, you can see where our product is at currently.
That's
cool. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's really cool.
So now
how do you guys decide where to take your product? I know that I have a friend of mine that's in San Antonio, Texas, and every time I post your guys' whiskey, he's always like, I can't get it here. So how do you decide where your reach is going to go? Because he wanted to watch the live on Instagram tonight, and he said that I'll just have to mail him a couple samples, and I will. But how do you decide?
We're hitting Texas this year, which is pretty cool. Okay. So yeah, just stay tuned. A couple months we'll be in Texas. It's a very deliberate build. We have an incredible figure, Herb Henneman, who heads up all our sales and marketing. He has a deliberate plan. So we started right with the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, you know, hitting Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, up to Chicago, with our wine finishes going into California. Our former chairman of the board, Pete Lofton, was in Miami. And, you know, from there, we're just selectively adding states with our key markets. So
Well, we're going to try to get 5 new markets a year until we get all 50 states.
Okay.
So
I
we're
think that probably goes back to, I mean, like, this just goes back to the patience things. You don't want to just try to go too big too fast. You want quality at, you know, at a good pace and everything like that, making sure everybody can get some product when you launch and everything like that. You don't want to try, you know, to blanket it too big too fast and then stumble and fall and disappoint people.
Right, and a lot of businesses have failed going too big too fast. So we want to make sure we do it right and do it right the first time, even if we extend out that go-to-market plan a little bit and do it a little bit more methodically. So, all I have to say is stay tuned. If you're waiting in a state that's waiting for some Bardstown bourbon, you will not be disappointed when it finally hits your state. If not, travel to Kentucky once.
Yeah, right.
Yes, sir.
Come on down.
Yeah, once things come a little bit better, atmosphere becomes a little bit better in the United States as far as what's going on currently. So definitely want people to come visit us once this clears up.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't ask. I mean, not sure what you can say and what you can't say. Any hints, teases about what next possible collaborations might be?
There's we have.
I love that you say it. I'll say it.
Break some news, baby. Break some news.
We have a couple big ones in the works that we're really excited about. They haven't, you know, we have another beer finish I can speak about, Goodwood Walnut Ale. It's the darkest beer finish we've done, and we've really found that the darker beers, this walnut flavor with bourbon, is just incredible. We were tasting it today. So we're so stoked on that one. We have some larger collaborations that we're just putting the finishing touches on, setting the barrels and signing off, that we'll be able to announce soon. One is an incredible cognac, and we have an awesome rum finish coming out.
Rum finish, that'll be cool.
My Spanish, so I've dove deeply into the rum world with her dad, so I'm excited for that.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and you know, we're open to anything. Like you said, the Malort, maybe that'll be.
I don't want to sink your business though. Like,
I want to be those 1-barrel experiments. We don't know.
Real experimental.
Or just, you know, call them and tell them, hey, you bought a whole barrel. Congratulations.
You should.
We'll call it a cooking bourbon. We can cook with it. How about that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, cooking bourbon.
You take somebody's crappy infinity bottle, but you just turn it up like 100 times. You fill that, age that in a barrel for 6 months, dump it, and then you age good bourbon in it. Just call it Infinity 2.8. I don't know.
Love it.
The world is you guys' oyster, right?
Yeah, I always like to ask, out of this lineup, you know, you got your Fusion Discovery, Prisoner, Armagnac. No wrong answer. You know, we all have our different favorites. Which one did you gravitate towards too? Which was your favorite of the bunch?
Oh, wow.
Greg?
Matt, you want to go first?
No, you go first, buddy.
Okay. I think right off, I've got 2 answers. The Prisoner is there's something special about it. It's one of those things that it's something I would use to pair with a dish as someone that likes to cook, or a special occasion type of bourbon. But then that first fusion that we had, oh my God, that I would sip that all day long, man. I mean, I could sit on the porch with that. Would be phenomenal. I really gravitated towards that one. And again, the Prisoner to me, as someone who is interested in culinary arts and cooking, I'm like, man, what could I pair this bad boy with? Because there's so many nuances here with that wine barrel.
Cool.
Corns, what about you?
So, I mean, whatever. It's hard. I'm with Greg on this because it's not like some bourbons where I will get the 3 different tiers and go, okay, those 2 I didn't really care for. This is my one. These are also different. And I look at situations. For me, you know, the Discovery, I'm going to have that with a steak and a cigar, and I'm going to be able to taste the entire flavor profile. When I want someone to really experience a ride, I'm going to give them the Prisoner, because that one, to me, from the nose to the final taste of it, it takes you on an amazing ride. And then, you know, I would grab, you know, the Fusion and go, oh, it's a hot summer day. Normally people don't like drinking whiskey by the pool, but I could drink this by the pool because it has that nice, crisp, fresh, light, you know, hit to it, but it still has incredible flavor. So for me, I mean, they all are special in their own way. It's hard to pick one, you know, and it all depends, like I said, what mood I'm in. But the Prisoner for me crushes on every aspect, because I'm a huge just wine guy. That I love that world. But that Discovery, it's hard to beat that for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good answer. I mean, everything is so different, so unique. It's their own strong suits going for it. But in an effort to not cop out, I'm a sucker.
We totally copped out.
I told you, I love Discovery 1, and Discovery 2 basically takes a good thing and makes it even better, just with a little bit of more maturity and a little bit, you know, more of everything. So for me, all what Tom and Corns just said there was absolutely true. Everything's appropriate in a different situation. But if you're laying them all out in front of me, I love a good straight Kentucky bourbon, kind of through and through, the deep, rich heartedness of that blend. But yeah, I echo the guys, and I mean, these make good plays in so many situations that it really runs the gamut, which is a great thing to have.
That new one as well, though.
Oh God.
Yeah.
The moment it hit your lips, it was like, "Hello, I'm here. Let's hang out." It's got some power to it. I think it's incredible.
Yeah. It's opening up in the glass a little bit too. It's coming.
I'm having trouble not finishing it because I want my wife to try it.
Hey, I forgot that. I mean, can I ask? Is that Kentucky? Is that in Indiana? Is that a Tennessee that you finished?
It's a 12-year Indiana. Yeah.
Okay.
12-year Indiana.
Yeah. No, that
not online. I looked.
You what?
I said it's not online yet. I looked.
Oh yeah. Coming very soon.
Yeah, it'll be on the label.
That date like that. But,
well, that's awesome. No, well, these were all incredible. I'll take this time. Thank you obviously to Dan and John. Thank you guys so much for being here. Corns, Corbs, Tom, Greg, you guys. No, thank you everybody for joining. This was a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll do it again, something similar. We'll all have to, boys, we'll have to put something together to go down there to visit at some point.
I'm down.
Yes.
Matt,
Porterhouse for 2 for me.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, hope to see you guys in here soon. In the meantime, we're doing virtual tours, virtual cocktail classes, everything at bardstownbourbon.com.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. Huge fan of you guys. Keep it up. I'm proud to be on here with you guys. So
thank you.
Anytime you want us to visit, give us a holler.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Always be trying new things. Always be meeting new friends. And always, 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 Greg, you know this bullshit. Be wrestling with whiskey.
Whiskey.
Yeah. Thanks,
Cheers, everybody.